everyone, this is Speaker Entertainment and we're back again, and here now we have another video for you and a continuation in our anime reviews, and in this edition we will focus on the first season of My Hero Academia. Now I'm pretty much sure anybody watching this is well aware of what My Hero Academia is, but for anybody who isn't, My Hero Academia is a massively popular anime series which was created in 2016 and it's still going presently today with its recent 5th season, and it's also been renewed for a 6th season as well. It's an adaptation of the manga created and drawn by Kohei Rikoshi and is currently sold over 50 million copies worldwide. Now the story of My Hero Academia is that we are set within a modern day environment where most humans have special abilities which are also known as quirks. Now there are certain individuals with enhanced abilities who go around protecting the world from supervillains, and these are primarily known as heroes. We then centre on a young teenager named Deku who very much aspires to become a hero but unfortunately doesn't possess a quirk power. Now Deku completely looks up to All Might, the most powerful and most famous hero within all of planet Earth. All Might is very much the Superman archetype for hope and justice, and Deku very much wants to be just like him. After proving his selflessness against a villain encounter within a city, All Might sees the heroic nature of Deku and takes him under his wing and trains him to be a hero. Over the course of the story, Deku is enlisted within the Hero Academia program where he competes with other teenagers who have quirk powers as well in order to prove his worth. My Hero Academia, in my opinion, is so typical of what we've seen so much in today's anime, certainly in the last 5 to 10 years. The stylized animation and visuals, the quick pace, the action, the over-exaggerated expressions and character interactions, and over-amplified soundtrack. My overall complaint over this style of anime is that those elements tend to consume any potential for a true compelling story and characterization. These are elements that were so rich in the anime era of the late 80s and early 90s, still my favourite phase of the genre itself. And unfortunately, those traits appear regularly throughout this first season of My Hero Academia. It starts off okay, certainly in the first 4 to 5 episodes, with the emphasis clearly set on Deku struggling to appreciate his own self-worth, training with All Might to become a hero, aspiring to improve himself, and this is really standard storytelling within what we see within a lot of anime where we focus on a protagonist who's trying to build himself up and develop his own skills. Now to be fair, in the early stages of the season we do get a good scope of development, and I do like the themes that the series concentrates on in terms of being a hero and putting others above yourself and striving to be the best, striving to be something more. These are themes that have a timeless concept and are very much appropriate when telling an overall superhero story, which is very much what My Hero Academia is all about. Now this ideal of being a hero is very much emphasised in what for me is the real heart of the entire story and series itself, and that's the dynamic between Deku and All Might. We get that classic student-mentor dynamic of the hero's journey where there is a certain weight and bond established between the two characters, and this connection overall kept me compelled, and I was able to overlook past all of the more sensationalistic and hyperbolic moments throughout the series. Now My Hero Academia is definitely an anime that is larger than life. It's full of colour and brightness and energy, fully indulging itself in its outlandish fantasy, and that's something that we've seen a lot throughout anime, certainly within the last 5 to 10 years. It is for the most part very light-hearted and very brisk, and again, if you are a fan of this tone of anime storytelling, this is something that you would very much enjoy. But in terms of the show itself, the issues come about once Deku gets invited into the Academia program and we're introduced to a whole host of supporting characters, nearly all of which carry very little substance, and the more they get involved in the story, the more it takes away from the dynamic of Deku and All Might, which I believe was the strongest part of the entire series. Now as we shift much more into the Academia program, we get far more emphasis on bigger fights and action and visuals, but after a while the narrative becomes a bit too much repetitive and far less compelling because of it. I was kind of glad that the first season itself was only around 13 episodes. I've watched recent anime such as Attack on Titan and Demon Slayer where we get 20 plus episodes, and to be honest with you, if we had the same situation here, I would have really struggled to stay throughout the story because it just becomes far more superfluous and disposable as it goes on. There's an all too common trait when focusing on this modern day type of anime where we get a good focus on a protagonist to begin with, but it also seems that the show writers almost become bored with the lead character, and all of a sudden they unleash this huge wave of supporting characters, all with their various dynamic in terms of costumes and personalities. And to be honest with you, the majority of this tactic is used primarily more for merchandising, but at the same time, if you have a supporting cast who don't seem that pivotal to the storyline, it just takes away so much from the story. Whilst I did like Deku's training arc overall. At times it felt too prolonged, as he wasn't facing any central threat or antagonist while going through this certain development. So it didn't have that same compelling feel as what we see with Dragon Ball Z, when we see Goku training his skills, but it's not just to become a hero, it's ultimately to stop an impending threat on the Earth. That's what makes the arc of Goku so compelling, but we don't get that same element when talking about My Hero Academia. Now, one very disappointing character for me was Bakujo, who I thought was going to be the compelling series antagonist. We see in the beginning when he bullies Deku, and he himself has aspirations to excel himself as a hero. But then around the 7th episode, the story quickly shifts to amp up a far more of a personal rivalry between the two characters, which really isn't established earlier on, so it really feels out of the blue. We get some sort of backstory and flashbacks into how they were as young children during the school, but again, there's no real weight or context to it. Now, after an intense and spectacular fight in around the episode 7, they really drop this personal rivalry between the two characters, and Bakujo just becomes much more of an angry, shouty caricature, so much as what we've seen in current anime at the moment, and it really was such a waste of the potential of a great character. Now, we do get some group of villains emerging in the last quarter of this season, but they really don't turn out to be anything too special, some of which are kept around and will likely have more prominence in the following seasons. Now, in terms of characters, my most favourite of the series was indeed All Might. As I mentioned before, he's very much of that Superman personality, and I just love the never-ending inspirational and determination of this character. He himself has added some depth when we learn that he has several weaknesses within his power following an encounter with a certain antagonist a couple of years ago. As a result, he suffered horrific injuries, and this means that he can only maintain his superhero form for a certain amount of time. So that gives a certain amount of depth and tension towards the character itself. Anytime he encounters a powerful villain, we generate some tension as to how long he can maintain his superhero form. But even after a while, that dynamic gets tired as they keep repeating it again and again throughout the series. But still, without doubt, All Might is my most favourite character. So if I had to give a score for the first season of My Hero Academia, I would give it a 5.2 out of 10. It has all of the style and the visuals and the action and the spectacle and the very stunning animation for the most part, as what we would associate a lot with modern day anime, but at the same time it also contains a lot of the weaknesses that what I see with a lot of modern day anime as well, and a never ending tendency to focus far more on the style rather than the overall substance in terms of the story and the characterization. So those are my overall thoughts and feelings on the first season of My Hero Academia. Let me know what you think in the comments below, particularly if you've seen the following seasons. Is this a show that very much improves after the first season, or is there some signs of decline as we go into the later elements of the story? Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you would indeed like to see me review other seasons of My Hero Academia, then let me know in the comments below, and I will continue to try and catch up with the various seasons as well. If you have any other anime, be it a movie or indeed a series, whether it's from the past era or the current era, let me know in the comments, and I will also provide some commentary on the anime that you select as well. Please also hit and like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, stay safe distances, and I will see you very, very soon.